Hello, good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for Midday News with me, AC Benewa Oto. Coming up in the next 1 hour. Residents of Bori and Akpafu communities along Eastern Corridor roads cut off from Hohoi and Jasikan district to deplorable due to deplorable state of the Hohoi-Jasikan roads. Also coming up, Industrial and Commercial Workers Union ICU cast doubt on World Bank's latest ease of doing business. And in international news, Niger Delta Avengers whose attacks on energy facilities in Niger Delta last year helped push Nigeria into recession ends its ceasefire. These and more coming up in the next 1 hour. Stay with us. And to our very first story now, and residents of Bori and Akpafu communities on the Eastern Corridor roads have been cut off from the Hohoi and Jasikan district due to deplorable state of the Hohoi-Jasikan roads. The roads have become unmotorable after the contractor abandoned work early this year. Meanwhile, the chiefs of Buem have appealed to government to recall the contractors.
The Hohoi-Jasikan stretch of the Eastern Corridor Road in the Volta region has developed craters at several points between Central Kofi and Akafu. The state of the road had gone from bad to worse after the contractor, Mrs. Rolida, had left site in March this year. Only a few drivers risked using the road, as all other communities along the stretch remained cut off.
Vehicles no longer ply the road. It has become a serious challenge for we residents along the Hohoi-Jasikan road.
This reporter got to Jasikan on Saturday, October 28, but no driver was prepared to ply the 20-kilometer road to Hohoi.
The state of the road is terrible. We prefer to use the long winding routes to Hohoi. We can't continue to be borrowing on repairs. The contractor was forced to abandon the road because of change of government. This has left the road in a more deplorable state, and we have no option than to change the route.
They rather preferred going through Bodada, Baika, Lolobi to Hohoi, which is not better either. Bent on accessing the state of the road, we hired a motorbike, and that was a lifetime experience. A journey of 20 minutes drive took us nearly 2 hours. The first crater was full of water and mud. This taxi cab from Tema had its ball joint removed.
It's almost 7 o'clock here, but we have to wait for the fitter to come from Hohoi to this place. We don't even know where we are. The road is in a deplorable state.
Do not be mistaken. These men, they are heavy drivers cutting product from the northern sector of the country to the south. At least 8 out of 12 such heavy-duty trucks we encountered Saturday evening and the early hours of Sunday experienced varying mechanical faults blamable on the state of the Hohoi-Jasikan road.
This road is in a terrible state. It has damaged all our vehicles. Right now, we have to do all it takes to fix the problem because we cannot afford to leave the goods here.
Residents of Bori and Akpafu communities are completely cut off from Hohoi and Jasikan district as commercial vehicles now use the Lulubi road from Hohoi. Residents told TV3 they trek 8 kilometers or more to Central Kofi before accessing vehicle.
All the drivers now use Teteman Road, hence we cannot get vehicle to embark on any journey. Those who dare would have to trek to Central Kofi in order to access vehicle to Hohoi.
Those who can afford rely on motorbikes to Hohoi and Jasikan. Transport fare are also up by 30%.
Just because of the road, we are pleading on the government so that they will just fix the road for us. We are suffering.
And the chiefs and people of Buem are worried.
The Jasikan Hohoi road has become a death trap. Even the state transport, that is a bigger car, has abandoned the Jasikan Hohoi road.
Our cries to have these roads fixed have not received the needed response from successive governments. Much talk about contracts have either not been executed or poorly done, while our people continue to suffer.
But the district chief executive for Jasikan, Lawrence Kwame Aziale, assured of a possible return of the contractor.
Government of the day has started paying contractors that are doing this project. Rolida shall receive its share of such fund and will come back to road before the month that we are entering will end.
Still in the Jasikan district, the Assembly has acquired 2,000 acres of land for an industrial starch factory. The Assembly is also seeking the release of a land for the establishment of a ceramic factory and ginger processing plant ahead of government's one district, one factory policy.
Buem is one of the largest food baskets in Ghana with vast arable land fertile for the cultivation of several crops. The area was once the leading cocoa producer in the Volta region. However, chieftaincy disputes and lack of industrialization has taken a heavy toll on agricultural productivity.
Though some of these issues have been partly addressed, a lot more still remain unattended and therefore requires the effort of all of you in seeking for solutions to all these problems.
The 13th Coalition Congress was on the theme, Agro-Industry, a key to development in Buem.
The first thing that we want to look at is the starch factory. The Western Buem chief have released 20,000 acres of land for this project.
Member of Parliament for Buem, Daniel Kwesi Ashiama, urged the chiefs to support initiatives to help improve the fortunes of the area.
We have to turn what we have to get what we don't have. And in establishment of any industry, it is about the supply of raw materials to this factory that can sustain this factory.
In a speech read on behalf of the chiefs of the area by the Assemblyman for Old Baika, Jabril Lamte Peter, the traditional authority called for the Oti region to be based on the traditional Buem Krachi district.
The chiefs and people of the northern part of the Volta region, specifically the area that used to be called the Buem Krachi district, have presented a petition to the President of the Republic for the creation of a new region.
The district chief executive Lawrence Kwame Azeli gave an assurance of plans to improve health and education in the district.
In other news, the hopes of Ghanaians traveling to the United States through the diversified visa lottery program have been dashed as President Trump initiate processes to terminate the program. Director of Academic Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Professor Vladimir Enchidanso, has backed the decision, insisting the security of the U.S. is paramount.
President Trump has called on Congress to end the green card lottery that led to the driver in the New York City attack getting into the country. The driver killed 8 and injured at least a dozen in Manhattan. The visa lottery, which was instituted in 1995, seeks to diversify the U.S. immigrant population by granting visas to underrepresented nations. Data available on the website of the Bureau of Consular Affairs of the U.S. Department of State indicate that some 20,000 visas have been issued to Ghanaians who won the diversity visa lottery and entered into the United States. According to the Pew Research report, in 2015 alone, about 12% of the 14.4 million applicants of the visa lottery were citizens of Ghana. This represents 1.7 million. Director of Academic Affairs at the Ghana Armed Forces Command and Staff College, Professor Vladimir Echidanso, backs the decision, saying it is the sovereign right of the U.S. to discontinue the program.
It is about time the U.S. tightened its security measures where immigration is concerned. And he believes that one of the easiest way of getting to America is to win the lottery. And therefore, he decided that it should be cancelled. So I believe it's a question of security.
Diplomat in residence at the Legon Center for International Affairs and Diplomacy, Ambassador Kwabena Ba-Dodu, says it is a sad situation.
It is going to block the chances of some of our nationals who had hoped that they would get an opportunity to go and work in the United States of America. And when they go and work there, we also get their money transfers, which contribute to the growth of our economy. So it's quite a sad situation.
What does the termination of the diversified visa lottery mean to Ghanaians? Professor Echidanso maintains the program is not one that Ghanaians cannot do without.
Without the visa lotteries, they still remain Ghanaians. And I think I'm one to differ from any thinking that the visa lottery is something that is so good that Ghana should protest or other countries should protest, and that it's something which shouldn't be cancelled.
Ambassador Kwabena Ba-Dodu believes there are other means of entering the U.S.
What is going to be affected is the lottery process for getting into the United States. Now you have to apply for the visa, and if they want your skills, they will let you go. If they don't want you, they will not let you go. So the lottery door has been closed, but there are other doors which can be utilized.
A May 2015 report prepared for the Rockefeller Foundation Aspen Institute Diaspora Program by Migration Policy Institute of the USA states there are about 235,000 Ghanaians currently living in the USA.
This is Midday Live. Let's get to the health sector now. And government has been urged to increase access to safe abortion care and comprehensive contraceptive use. IPAS Ghana Youth Advisory Board, an NGO spearheading improved reproductive health services, is worried the increasing number of women dying from unsafe abortion. Unsafe abortion accounted for 15% of maternal deaths in Ghana.
Statistics available to the Ghana Health Service indicates that 9,612 cases of unsafe abortion were recorded last year. Unsafe abortion cases in the Bonahafo region increased from 1,661 in 2015 to 1,224 last year. 31 teenage pregnancy-related deaths were also recorded during the period. IPAS insists such deaths could be avoided if women have access to family planning and comprehensive abortion care services.
More young people are having sex in Ghana. And we should also know that more young people are getting pregnant in Ghana. And more young people also find their own ways and means of doing away with unwanted pregnancies. Can there be a way that the government can put measures in place so that the young people can be given information to make a choice in case the person needs an abortion service?
At a media engagement on ending unsafe abortion, the group called on government to take a second look at the high cost of comprehensive abortion care services.
In Ghana, we have the comprehensive abortion care services, which should cater for some of these emergencies. In case you need the service, you can have access to the service. But you get to the government facility, the cost involved is pushing more young people away. You get to the facility, they charge so much. And even the stigma in the society is also pushing more young people to the facilities. And then you see them rather entering into where they are not supposed to go.
Unsafe abortion is still a major cause of deaths, especially among young women. A member of the IPAS board, Samuel Mi Lamte, appealed to young people to become advocates to ensure an end to unsafe abortion.
To educate one another and ourselves on the importance of safe abortion rights and access. Oppose unauthorized people who take advantage of the stigma in the system to have unsafe abortion services for young people.
Goal 3 of the Sustainable Development Goals encourages healthy lives and promoting of well-being by 2030.
Still in the health sector, and lapses in the healthcare delivery system in the country has compelled some Ghanaians to rely on charity organizations and NGOs for healthcare. Peter Kwadato reports hundreds of patients trooped to the First Care Hospital in Kumasi with health conditions that they have been living with for decades due to poverty.
The First Care Hospital in Kumasi became the center of attraction in the month of September and October this year. Scores of patients trooped to the facility to register their participation in a humanitarian health outreach by Restore International, based in America. At least 140 out of 300 patients were shortlisted at the end of September for the exercise in October. The rest were not cases listed for the program. Others were cases requiring more time than a week's outreach. The final screening was on Sunday, October 15, where the shortlisted patients were booked for surgery.
She's saying she's having severe pains in her breast. She's having some severe pains. So her son at Bekwai, one of her son at Bekwai, told her to come.
A team of 40 volunteers, including doctors, surgeons, anesthetists, nurses, and other paramedics from across the world, went into action on Monday, October 16.
I just saw a 50-year-old lady who had a mastectomy when she was 14 years old. She was told the breast would grow back. That's her story. But somebody at the age of 14 or 15 to have her breast removed. We as a country, we have a lot of work to do. If we work together as a team, we can build better institutions, in healthcare, so that Ghanaians will be comfortable, and even the diaspora, when they come back home, they will be comfortable enough to say, you know what, when I'm sick, I have a better place to go.
Keloid, bone disfigurement, facial tumor, posterior scalp lipoma, breast cancer, birth defects or deformities, among others, dominated cases.
I spent all my income trying to get cure for my daughter without success. I therefore rushed here with the hope that they will be able to save her life. My highest expectation is that the Restore team will be a solution to our healthcare needs. No hospital was able to respond to my healthcare, and I'm at my wit's end.
With 2 theaters at their disposal, the team, led by Ghanaian-born American plastic surgeon Dr. Michael Kwame Obeng, put their expertise at the disposal of these less fortunate Ghanaians.
So I think that the insurance should be designed in a way to provide complete comprehensive care so that these patients don't have to wait for other charitable organizations or charitable institutions for their essential care.
One after the other, day after day, patients who have lived with ailments for varying years were relieved and excited. A director of Restore International Relations, Don Sutherland, had mixed feelings over the plights of Ghanaians who are dying because of lack of health care.
You have people who have been thrown with acid and get brutally, disfigured. And when they go to the hospital, they can't do anything for them. And so a lot of these children are put over into the village just to suffer.
These few counted themselves fortunate, but how about those who were turned away and the hundreds who did not hear of the restore team?
In other news, code of ethics are essential for the success of every business and group. It is a document which outlines how professionals are supposed to approach problems, the ethical principles based on the organization's core values and the standards to which the professional is held. Let's speak with Collins Ajiman Sapon and also Benjamin Beidu. Collins is the president of the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, and he is here with his vice president. So to my far left is Mr. Collins, and Mr. Beidu is seated in the middle. Good afternoon, gentlemen, for joining us here in the studio. So let's first look at the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, that's GIPS. Is this the first time you have come up with a code of ethics?
Yes, this is the first time. It's a first of its kind. And Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply is a central organization leading the procurement professionals and practitioners, as well as the students. And our aim is to advance the welfare, the cause, and also probity and accountability and the ethical behavior of our members. That's what we seek to do. The body was formed in 1981 as Ghana Institute of Purchasing and Supply, and we had our name amended in 2014 to Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply. So we've been around.
Since 1981, and this is the first time you're coming up with a code of ethics. Isn't it too late for
well, you see, our course is we study code of ethics. So we thought that it is one of those. Every procurement professional, you have to be ethical. But when you look at the current issues coming out, then there is the need to come out with a code of conduct or code of ethics which will solve the current problems and situations that we are having in our country.
Let me get to Mr. Beidu and find out why the code of ethics now.
Thank you very much, and then a very good afternoon to your viewers. Code of ethics is critical in the sense that in every professional organization, you are supposed to get a code of ethics or something that will guide your behavior and conduct. So as an institute, we felt that there's a need for us to put something together that will essentially regulate the conduct and behavior of all procurement professionals as well as practitioners, and also to bring what we call sanity in the profession. If you take institutions like ICA, Ghana Bar Association, what do you call it? Ghana Medical Association and staff, they all have some form of ethics or conduct that guides their behavior. So essentially, we felt that as an institution, there's a need for us to develop one, and then also to make sure that as our members out there go about their normal duties, they will be able to, be guided by this code of, conduct, so that at least they will put up what I call the professional behavior and the true or form of,
What are some of the general principles of this code of ethics?
The code of ethics is principally based on 4 pillars. 1, to create the right environment to ensure competitiveness in all procurement proceedings, and also 2, to ensure that there is fair and transparent in the procurement procedures in all entities, and also to make sure that whether you work in the public or the private sector, you should be able to abide by the regulation that pertains in that organization. Okay. In other words, if you, let's say, happen to be in the public procurement space, and of course, you should be able to go through what the law says as far as the procurement is concerned, and also to make sure that you avoid all form of causing financial loss to your organization as far as this code is concerned. So it's been drafted detailed enough, and we believe that as we are about to launch, we do the education to members for them to abide by those code of ethics.
Let me get to Collins, whether there are sanctions, for members who flout these particular ethics. And what are some of these sanctions are we looking at?
One, let's say you flout it, we have ethics and disciplinary committee. They will sit on your case. Granted, it comes that you are at fault. We can even splash your name to the whole world that yes, you can have doctorate or even professor level in procurement, but nobody should engage your services in the space of procurement. So your certificate can be taken from you. You can be debarred. I mean, we can tell you for 2 years you are not a member of this. And also, now that we have social media, we'll just splash you. So that, you see, it's a self-regulatory document that we are doing, because now we need to let members or those people who are in procurement to be able to stand up and talk. So even if you are being pushed by your boss to do any unethical thing, you should be able to tell your boss that, look, if there is any problem, I'm going to suffer the consequence. So I'm not going to do it. And again, somewhere in our code, there's that whistleblower power in there. So if somebody is pushing you to do something that you don't like, you need to let everybody know. So your certificate can be taken away from you. You cannot work in any procurement space, and you will be named and shamed. And if there is the need for us to even recommend for you being jailed, we will do that, as is happening in other professional bodies that we are aware of.
Is that deterrent, enough, to ensure that members really abide by these 4 pillars that the code of ethics is hinged on?
Exactly. Let's say you've paid so much, you've invested in, let's say, coming out with your certificate, right? And then all of a sudden, by a means of just, not adhering to a code of conduct, and then your certificate will be taken away, for you not to be having the opportunity to work for about 2 years or more. I don't think that any rational human being will worth a salt will ensure that I should sit down for my certificate to be taken away. So of course, code of ethics, once you belong to a professional body, you cannot avoid it. And even in the course of doing your work, it will cap into your mind that, look, if I don't take care, if I just compromise my professional stand, of course, there will be sanctions or punitive sanctions that will come to me. So it's going to be, some form of checks, on all procurement members, professionals in Ghana.
Well, so finally, in June 2017, Minister of State in charge of procurement, Adjoa Safo, said 70% of all government contracts would be exclusively reserved for Ghanaian contractors and suppliers. I would like to find out from you how important this is to our development.
It is very, very important, because to grow your economy is the business people that need to help grow. So if you have, 70% of government expenditure, apart from salaries, goes into procurement. It means that our GDP hinges on procurement activities within the country. And therefore, if we are able to let our own Ghanaians be in that space to use that spend, not other country citizens. Like every day you hear of this agitation that, some country citizens are even venturing into a retail business and all that. Because when you do that, it means that we are not growing the economy over there. And what Adjoa Safo also said is something that we do call sustainable procurement. She said that 30% of this, even 70%, will be directed towards women and people with disability. Okay, so it is something to give that economic power to our country, rather than taking our own money, our own taxpayers' money, and giving it to foreigners to run our economy for us. So it is good. Yeah.
Thanks so much, gentlemen, for joining us to have a discussion on this particular issue. I have been speaking with Collins Ajiman Sapon, my far left. He is the president of Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply, and seated in the middle, Benjamin Beidu, he is the Vice President of the Procurement and Supply Institute. Yes, we'll talk more on this in our subsequent bulletins. This is still Midday Live. Let's move on. And the Information Ministry is to embark on a value-based campaign to promote high ethical behavior in the public and private sector. The Sector Minister Mustafa Abdul Hamid, who made this known at a public lecture in Accra, noted ethical behavior is a prerequisite for national development.
Ethical behavior is characterized by honesty, fairness, and equity in the interpersonal and professional relationships. As part of the Islamic University's responsibility to disseminate knowledge in the pursuit of academic excellence and ethical standards and moral uprightness for nation building, it organized a public lecture on ethics. The Information Minister, Mustafa Abdul Hamid, expressed worry about the falling ethical standards in the country.
Ethics, for me, is the rightness and wrongness of human conduct, okay? And therefore, if we do not have codes of ethics that guide us to do that which is right, which will inure to the development of our country. We are always talking about lateness to work, corruption, people who steal from the workplace, and these are all things that undermine the national development efforts, and they are ethical issues.
A 13-year-old JHS1 student is among 12 other teenagers in the custody of a state shelter for abused children. Najat Muhammad Kadir came from the Ashanti region in search of her mother, Habiba Musa, who declined to welcome her.
This is the fourth time 13-year-old Najat Muhammad Kadir has been to the shelter. She has never met her mother, Hausitu Muhammad, who always declined her calls. Najat's grandmother, Habiba Musa, who usually come for her back to Tafopankrono in the Ashanti region, also declined this time round. Najat's mother, Hausitu Muhammad, continued to drop calls as soon as the daughter's name is mentioned by social workers, leaving her stranded. Other children in the shelter are 10-year-old Millicent Obnewa from Achim Begro, Mauto Mawenyefia, 12, from Amasaman, and 8-year-old Emmanuel, who was found loitering at Nima on June 23. The rest are 10-year-old Ajenini Jovo from the Republic of Togo, Jonas Mame Amakujo, 10 years, Portia Poku, 11 years, Portia Agbuja, 12 years, and Frederick Awotre, 15. The others are 9-year-old Prosper Ufori, Mariam Magama, 10, Michael Kingsley Okain, 12, a Nigerian, and Desmond Ufori, 10 years. Anyone who has seen any of these children or knows their relatives should contact the state shelter for the abused children or the nearest police station.
The Accra Regional Police Command has arrested an alleged notorious thief who has been operating within the business district of Accra. 38-year-old unemployed Salem Issa was arrested after 2 years of swindling traders at Okainshi, Accra. The Medina Zongo Junction resident was arrested on Friday, November 3 days after he had swindled a porter of 10 boxes of products. The arrest attracted a mad rush from head porters, most of whom identified Salem as having swindled them using the same trick. Salem Issa reportedly admitted to the accusations in his caution statement and assisting the police in further investigations. In a related development, an Accra Circuit Court has issued a bench warrant for the immediate arrest of 27-year-old Francis Boache for fraud and impersonation. Francis Boache reportedly duped his victims to the tune of 28,000 cedis under the pretense of recruiting them into the Ghana Army. The He is also alleged to have posed as a military officer with the Ghana Armed Forces. Francis Boachi hails from the Ashanti region and stands at 5 feet 9 inches tall, slightly built, dark in complexion, and has a tribal mark on the right cheek. Anybody with information on the whereabouts of Francis Boachi should please report to the Cantonment Police or the nearest police stations. Volunteers may also call the police emergency number 191 or Crime Fighters MTN or Vodafone toll-free number 18555 to assist. Before we take a break, the Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply will launch its Code of Ethics on Tuesday, November 7th. This is Media Live. Stay with us. We have more news coming up. To some other news, and Minister for Finance Ken Ofori-Atta says revenue has been a challenge in the 10 months that the government has been in office. He made a statement at the inauguration of a multi-agency petroleum revenue committee here in Accra. The committee was set up on the backdrop of a study by Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth. GOGIG identified some loopholes in the petroleum chain at the upstream sector. The committee is made up of representatives from agencies such as the GRA, Finance Ministry, Bank of Ghana, GNPC, NPA, Petroleum Commission, Ghana Oil and Gas for Inclusive Growth, and Maritime Authority. Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta charged the multi-agency Petroleum Revenue Committee to help maximize oil revenue.
The non-payment of taxes is very pervasive, either through lack of knowledge or our own systems' inability to capture that. And I think that extends also to the oil and gas industry. Creating openness, sharing information, and all of us then standing up to our responsibilities to just clarify issues and to help increase our revenue.
Team leader of GOGIG, Adelaide Ado Fenin, noted the work of the committee will bridge the coordination gap existing among state institutions in the oil and gas sector to improve revenue collection.
With this study, we wanted to go more directly to look across the oil and gas decision chain to assess areas where there are potential revenue losses and to be able to identify those specifically and drill down and provide support in addressing those so that revenue capture can be enhanced.
Deputy Minister for Finance and Chairman of the committee, Kweku Agyemang-Kwarteng, assured the committee will not fail the country.
We would deliver to your expectation. We will come to you if we need any support, but as much as possible, we would like to also tap into the support we can get from the DFID and the program to ensure that in the end, DFID can be proud of the partnership that you have engaged in with the government of Ghana.
Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has suggested a review of the tax exemption policies due to the revenue challenges faced by the country. He indicated implementation of the tax stamps for manufacturing companies in 2018 will be a way forward in maximizing revenue.
There were about 13 to 15 such things, and we took a bite at all of them. I mean, I think effectiveness for some of them is what we need to look at. I think our exemptions policies need to be reviewed, and as you know, revenues have been a challenge, but I think penetration is an issue. So the expectation is the full implementation of EPOS, which is the electronic system for all retailers, to get the tax stamp for manufacturing companies, so that excise duties will be better done. So those will likely come in the new year but at least we set up the structures for that to be.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union (ICU) has cast doubt on World Bank's latest ease of doing a business ranking. Ghana ranked 120th, down from 108th position last year, placing 12th in sub-Saharan Africa.
In the World Bank report, Ghana dropped by 12 basis points from 108 to the 120th position. The World Bank cited factors such as increase in the cost of doing business, energy challenges, and difficulties to register businesses. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union (ICU) is of the view the World Bank report should not be taken serious.
Cutting of the nurses' allowances, the teachers, and all those things is an intervention that is helping this economy. So the bold decision of the current government to say, no, I'm going back to it. Okay, you realize that in the closing of the campaign, you know, the NDC has to change its strategy and say, we are also going to restore it back. Because you say you couldn't do it. So for the IMF and the World Bank, well, they are very technical, and their results have never actually brought us any joy.
The ICU argued that government currently has rolled out numerous interventions, such as paperless spot transactions, from which more than 9 million cedis had been accrued as of September.
So it isn't that the Ghanaian economy have run into shambles and we don't have the future of attracting investors. Look at the rising buildings we are seeing all around. That tells you that the confidence of the economy has gone out of our border posts and people are still coming in. And I believe we'll see it in the next few years.
In another development, the ICU lauded government's decision to reduce corporate tax from 25% to 20%.
We take a breather here, and when we come back, Yao Ofusulabi will join us with all the action from the world of sports. Stay with us. Let's do entertainment now, and even though she has been off the screens for some time, Royal Storm actress Juliet Ibrahim says her acting career has been more profitable outside of Ghana. She has been speaking with Ajua Mufawase.
You need to wrap this lunatic up. That's the same as Soto song. Everyone, I've been dancing to all day. I love her.
Screen goddess Juliet Ibrahim has been making money moves elsewhere outside the boundaries of Ghana. The Glow ambassador, who has been out of the country for most parts of 2017, says she has been more useful in Nigeria, hence her attachments to the Nigerian film industry. She said due to the dead state of the Ghana movie industry, she had to find herself a new home where demand was high.
Outside, the demand for me as an actor has always been the same, is increasing by the day. There's been, blockbuster movies, there's been, A-list film festival movies that have been featured in. But in Ghana, because we're not doing so many big movies now, things have been a bit slow. But I also produce, so my movies has also taken me on major platforms as well.
She said she is open to contracts, no matter where the job takes her, adding that the impact of her work is what matters. She stated that the job requirement does not stop her from being a good mother to her 1-year-old son, Jaden, though they do not live together.
I'm moving on, my bags are packed, I'm out the door, no more the tea, don't know what you have until you...
For Juliet, awards are necessary to the career of every entertainer, as they help to determine society's opinion of you. She said such recognition urges you to push harder.
In your career span, you need to be able to receive awards in order to understand that you're doing something that's making a difference in society and people are appreciating it, you're being recognized. So, receiving awards adds to your credibility, adds to your prestige and everything.
The 35-year-old 30 Days in Atlanta star said she was working on a soon-to-be-aired TV series and hinted of a new music single which features her Nigerian rapper boyfriend, Iceberg Slim.
Entertainment news elsewhere. New York police say they have a viable case against Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein after an actress accused him of raping her 7 years ago. Robert Boyce of the New York Police Department said the woman had presented a credible and detailed narrative. Earlier, actress Paz de la Huret told Vanity Fair that Weinstein raped her twice in New York in 2010. Weinstein has denied all allegations of non-consensual sex made against him. More than a dozen women have accused the 65-year-old of rape, and many more have accused him of sexual harassment and performing indecent act. New York police have also been investigating other claims against the producer.